A port car pulling off the track there. Yeah.
It appeared to be the Machinist Union car, number 11.
We'll check on that as we continue to follow Emerson Fittipaldi in his effort to build up speed.
It would have been Kevin Cogan that pulled off with problem.
Rick Mears and Al Unser Jr. is right behind Emerson Fittipaldi. There they are, with a slower car, one of the Dick Simon cars between the two. So Danny Sullivan now assumes command of this race with about a 3-second lead over Ari Lyondike. Because of this series of pit stops, Danny Sullivan got out, had a quicker pit stop, and therefore is in the lead once again. He was in the lead earlier in the race and lost it when he got tangled up with a car as Mario Andretti comes in. And once again, he is off sequence with the others, but it's a little bit better sequence than it was earlier, and Larry Newber is there.
Yes, it is, Bob. I think he's in a pretty good position. As a matter of fact, the new fuel management system that we talked about earlier is doing its job. Here's the only man who's won 2 of the races, 2 of the 4 events that have been conducted here at Portland International. Everything is going on routine. The left side tires are on the left side, the right side tires on the right side. He does that in about 16 seconds. Make that 17.2 seconds. I'm leaning over looking at the fuel gauge, and there's just a little left. So I'd say things are in pretty good shape because they don't figure they have to come in one more time.
And there's just a little bit left of your voice, too, but it sounded pretty good compared to what it was last night. I didn't give Larry any chance at all of being with us this afternoon because of the laryngitis, but sounded pretty good despite all the shouting that he's doing down there in the pit area. Well, look who's come out right ahead of his son. Mario and Michael are once again right together on the racetrack. Danny Sullivan leads. There he is passing John Jones, who is not being shown in the top 15. Yes, he is. He's shown in 10th position. And we understand that Kevin Cogan was the car that pulled off the racetrack there as we saw Emerson Fittipaldi come out of the pits. And Kevin Cogan has retired from competition because of a clutch problem. So now it becomes a pursuit of Danny Sullivan. Ari Lyondike, who has looked so strong. There he is in the black car with a couple of cars between himself and Danny Sullivan, but it's now a job of catching up, and he has not had to play this game very often this afternoon. The question becomes, can that Cosworth engine get back up front and challenge Danny Sullivan, who's in this Chevy? Made quick work for Scott Brayton there as he passed Timothy into the backstretch.
Yes, that car is working, and it's running well, too. So I think it's just a matter of time and we'll see him back up challenging.
We're back inside Al Unser Jr.'s car, and right ahead of him is Emerson Fittipaldi. Emerson is 3rd and Al Unser Jr. 4th. So little Al is battling with Immo for this spot. We go out of corner number 9 and begin a full lap inside the Valvoline car driven by Al Unser Jr. This is a lap around Portland International. Jr.'s Valvoline race cam with the pictures. He is right behind Emerson Fittipaldi, who is 3rd. Al Unser Jr. is 4th. 5th position at the moment belongs to Rick Mears. In 6th is Mario Andretti. 7th is John Andretti. In 8th position unofficially, Teo Fabi in the Porsche. 9th is Bobby Rahal, and 10th is John Jones. On down from there, Scott Brayton shown in 11th. Didier Taze is 12th. Michael Andretti 13th. Rocky Moran is 14th. Roberto Guerrero is in 15th position. And just dropping out of the race with a clutch problem was Kevin Cogan in car number 11.
Emerson appears to be able to pull away off of the turns, like he may have a little different gear ratio and is able to get off of the corners a little better than You see Al slipping a little bit. He had to really catch himself to keep from going off of the road.
He sure did. He got the left side of that car off the racetrack, but fortunately saved it and got back on without losing very much, maybe a second or so. The leader is Arie Luyendyk. Danny Sullivan, who is right behind that John Andretti car. Now let's give you a summary of the latest pit stops. The second and probably the final pit stops have been made. Arie Luyendyk went in first and came out in second position. Al Unser Jr. went from second to fourth. Danny Sullivan was the big gainer. He went in third position, came out with the lead. Emerson Fittipaldi gained one position, and Mario Andretti fell one position, coming in fifth and going out in sixth spot. So Danny Sullivan was the big advantage as he was able to pick up 2 spots in the pit area, and he leads by about 3.9 seconds over Arie Luyendyk. And we'll be back with more of our live coverage in the shadows of Mount Hood.
Settle in for an incredible sound.
Beautiful sight as the chain of volcanoes near this area, all visible today because of the crystal clear weather and crystal clear skies that we have here. After this race is over, stay with us. Chris Berman and Tim Brando will have all the latest from the world of sports on SportsCenter. They'll, of course, be updating you on the final round of the U.S. Open and on the Winston Cup race in Pocono today, a race in which Bobby Allison was injured. And, of course, we'll have all the latest from the world of sports on SportsCenter tonight following our live coverage of this IndyCar race here at Portland. Well, Derek Daly has retired from competition. The car is off the racetrack, and this is the reason why he is out of the race.
Yes, we see him coming down the front straightaway here directly in front of Mears, and suddenly he gets a wisp of smoke right there, and that's telltale. It must have been enough, and it rattled hard enough that he broke a drive shaft. Thing must have gotten into something, but he went straight off of the road, out of the way, into a safe place, and he's finished for the day.
So he will not bring out a full Courchevello because the car is in a safe position, and that means that green continues here at Portland, and Danny Sullivan is the leader, and he now has increased his advantage over Arie Luyendyk by a little over 4 seconds. So now we're seeing Derek walk back toward the pit area. It's been a very frustrating afternoon for him. Earlier, he was involved in a situation down in turn number 9 with Randy Lewis, got back out onto the racetrack, but now it ends with apparently a broken drive shaft. John Andretti in car number 98 is also pulling off the course. An unfortunate situation for John because he was running in 7th position, but a big puff of smoke from the rear of that car signals the end of the day for John Andretti.
This is when it starts taking its toll. The cars have been running steadily. We've not had a yellow, so we're going to see this start happening.
We have exactly 20 laps to go. 84 are in the books as John Andretti takes off the helmet and the head sock. And let's go now to Gary Lee in the pit area, who has a comment on Danny Sullivan, who's the leader.
I think we have well documented the prowess of the PC-17. This chassis is number 5, the one that Danny is driving. It's a brand new car. In fact, the chassis that Rick Mears is in is the same car that Al Sr. drove at the Speedway in the Indy 500. The 500 winner, Rick Mears, is back in the hauler. Now, as far as fuel consumption, this pit side tank is empty. I talked to Chuck Sprague, the crew chief. I said, do you have enough fuel? He said, just enough, and kind of laughed. I don't think he's that sure. The only fuel left over here in the pit area is right here, about 2.5 to 3 gallons in this refueling hose. They hope they have enough to go the distance.